Hello, and welcome to this Blender Pokemon modeling series. Today I'm going to be modeling a simple Weedle. Um, this is going to be my first Blender modeling video, so it's going to be just as much of a learning experience for you as it is for me. So I apologize to the more advanced viewers out there who are going to say, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, I don't, but it's a learning experience. So without further ado, let's get this started. Alright, so starting off in a new project here, I am going to work off of a reference image which I just found off of Google. Just typed in Weedle and there it was. So we're going to be working off this here. And to start off, let's go to front view, change it to orthographic by pressing 5, delete this, and then add a UV sphere. And this is pretty big for now, but I'm okay with that. I don't want to mess with the dimensions. So I'm gonna move it up here. And really this is good for your head. This is a good start. So I'm gonna add another UV sphere, and I'm gonna make this one into the eye, or eyes. So I'm going to move it around to where I want it, and basically just inset it into the to the head where I want it. And that's about right. And I'll hit Shift D and then X to move along the X-axis, and there are my two eyes. If I look at it, I'll have to move the camera around and stuff, but right now that looks pretty good. Next part is going to be the nose, which for that I'll also add another UV sphere. And since I'll only need about half of it, I'll go into edit mode, and then press B for box select, and select all these faces and just delete them, and that'll be good for now. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I can shift it along the X-axis, and then along the Y-axis, or no, along the Z-axis, and shift it back to kind of snug it up, scale it down a bit, move it to where I want it. And I'll need to open it up a bit. And that's actually looking pretty good. When we get some materials on it, some colors, it'll really start to look like a Weedle. So fear not, it's getting there. And I'll just add the cone, or his little stinger there, and scale it down a bit. I'm going to want to grab this top portion and stretch it out. As you can see, his stinger is a lot more pointy than this cone is, and it's also a little tinier. But that looks about right. You can move it into place, just rotate it, see where it looks, and that looks about right. Like I said, when we add some materials on it, it'll really start popping. Why don't we go ahead and start with that. for the body section, we'll go ahead and add a new material, call it body, and give it a kind of a brownish, Weedle color. I don't know. That looks good. And turn the hardness down because his body isn't shiny at all. That's about all you need to do there. For these eyes, we'll add a new material, call them, eyes, and just make it a dark color, not necessarily black, because we don't want it to suck in all the light. And then crank up that hardness to 100's good, and also move the intensity up so it's a lot shinier. As you can see, it's reflecting a lot of light. And I'll set this color too. For let's see, that sucks. What? For this cone here, or for the nose, I'll add a new material. Oh no, it's on the same, whatever. I'll fix that. But make it a nice pink. A pretty saturated pink too. That looks good. Same thing. His nose is pretty shiny, so we'll reflect that. And then we'll call this pink because it shows up a lot. And a new material, we'll call it Stinger. And it's kind of a greenish tinge, so just slightly green. And it's perfect. And you can turn that up and hardness. Oh my, it's too much. Okay, leave the intensity alone, and that's about perfect actually. So then we'll assign that color to that. And I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. So then we'll work on the body sections. And to do this, we'll just add another UV sphere. And for this, I'm gonna kind of scale it along the Y. And actually, what I really want to do is, in edit mode, grab these faces up here, scale them along the Z-axis to kind of flatten them out, then bring it down. So I've got more of an apple shape going on. And similarly with the bottom ones, just kind of scaling down a bit. So that looks more like a section, if you will. Scale it down a bit. And then I'll add a couple more UV spheres. And these will be the little foot things. Move them in here. And for these, it looks like they're more bulbous, and so we need to pull these faces out to kind of reflect that. So in edit mode, turn this off, press C to get this. Just grab these here, and what we're going to also do is use a tool called proportional editing. It's this really nice tool that instead of just pulling these faces, it also manipulates these faces around it, which is really nice. It's really handy. So then I'll just pull these to get that more bulbous look, and that's really good. And if I select the whole thing, kind of scale it down. Same thing, I could get it even more bulbous. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm liking that. So that's it's going to be our foot there. And then we also need another one. So hit Shift D, X, and move along the X-axis, and maybe rotate it a little bit. It's kind of, actually, what does that look like? Yeah. Just rotate it along the Z-axis to kind of point it out there. And move to where you like. And that looks fine, right? Oops. So, assign this the body material, and then these two the pink material. Well, this one too. And there you go. It's starting to come together. When you smooth it out, it's going to look really nice. Everything smooth. And look, that's already looking real nice in comparison with this. You know, one of the reasons I chose Weedle as a first project was it's really easy. You know, it's basically just all circles and such, so it's really easy to make it come together. Alright, I am not liking the way this body looks, so I'm going to scale it along the Y, no, the Z, kind of flatten it out a bit, and already that looks much better. Alright. And it looks pretty good. And from the front view, you can tell he's kind of curving back and to the right. So I'm going to try to duplicate that. And that looks pretty dang good. So I've got all these selected. I'm going to hit Shift D. Let's move them down. Scale it down a bit as we get smaller. Go to the front view. And just rotate it along the X-axis, kind of move it over there. And you'll see as you continue with this, it's never perfect. You're always going to be doing something to it, fixing something. And that's okay. It's looking okay. Sorry, I'm being